Hey fighters! You're watching WrestleWire 24/7, your go-to for everything WWE. Subscribe, tap the bell, and let's dive deep. SmackDown delivered a night that fans will not soon forget. What began as a standard segment of medical assistance unexpectedly turned into a moment of chaos that left everyone on the edge of their seats. The arena was buzzing with energy, the air thick with anticipation, and the crowd could sense that something unpredictable was unfolding backstage. It was clear from the outset that this night would not follow the usual script. This was a night defined by intensity, suspense, and the unpredictable nature of professional wrestling. Backstage tension. Backstage, the scene was tense. Damian Priest was being assisted through the corridors after earlier matches had taken their toll. The exertion of the night was written on his face. Every step he took showed the wear of his previous battles. He moved cautiously, relying on officials for support, and there was a noticeable quiet tension around him. Fans watching from home could feel the vulnerability, knowing that this wasn't just a wrestler making his way to the locker room. This was a moment of anticipation, a pause before the storm. A sudden turn. Out of the corner of the corridor, a figure emerged, calm and composed, exuding confidence. This was Aleister Black, returning to SmackDown with an intensity that immediately demanded attention. There were no words exchanged, no introductions. His presence alone carried weight, and the air seemed to shift with the sudden arrival. The contrast between Priest's cautious steps and Black's unwavering stride created a charged atmosphere that hinted at an unfolding storyline far larger than the night's matches. Clash of focus. The corridor, usually a place of routine and preparation, became a stage for raw storytelling. Black approached Priest, not with words, but with an undeniable focus. The cameras captured every step, every glance, and every reaction, creating a sense of narrative tension that resonated throughout the locker room and among the audience. This wasn't about physical confrontation. It was about presence, intent, and the energy between two performers at a pivotal moment in the night. Escalating drama. What followed was less about the physicality and more about psychological intensity. Black demonstrated control and precision, showing that his return was not casual, it was deliberate. Priest, though weary from earlier matches, showed resilience in his cautious movements. The scene played out like a masterclass in tension building, emphasizing anticipation and the stakes of an unpredictable encounter. The audience could feel the weight of the moment, and the storytelling was heightened by the reactions of officials, peers, and fans alike. The impact of presence. Even without any extreme physical violence, the presence of both wrestlers created a palpable sense of drama. Black's meticulous movements and Priest's careful navigation of the corridor conveyed a story of rivalry, ambition, and the unpredictable nature of competitive wrestling. The corridor, usually a mundane backdrop, became a stage where tension, emotion, and intensity were amplified. It was a demonstration that storytelling in wrestling relies not only on in-ring action, but also on the small, deliberate moments backstage. Psychological edge. The most compelling aspect of the night was the psychological layer of the encounter. Black's calm and measured approach contrasted with Priest's exhaustion, highlighting the mental stakes of professional wrestling. Each glance, each pause, and each gesture built an invisible tension that the audience could almost touch. This narrative device is what keeps fans engaged long after the live event, creating speculation, conversation, and investment in the evolving storylines. A show of control. As the encounter unfolded, it became clear that the focus was control rather than chaos. Black's deliberate pacing and measured movements emphasized strategy over brute force. The cameras captured each subtle detail, from the way he surveyed his surroundings to the confident, almost ritualistic gestures that hinted at a larger plan. This was storytelling at its finest: tension, anticipation, and presence creating a moment that felt consequential even without overt physical confrontation. Symbolic gestures. During the encounter, small details carried significant meaning. The placement of objects, the deliberate pacing, and the interaction between the wrestlers suggested a narrative larger than a single moment. These elements conveyed a story of dominance, focus, and the art of psychological wrestling. Fans watching could appreciate the layers of narrative being constructed, how presence, gaze, and timing can communicate as powerfully as any move executed in the ring. The art of anticipation. Perhaps the most effective part of the night was how anticipation was used as a storytelling tool. Every step, glance, and pause contributed to a growing sense of expectation. Priest's careful navigation of the corridor and Black's methodical approach created an almost cinematic tension. The audience was drawn into the narrative, imagining potential outcomes and speculating about future developments. This was wrestling as theater, demonstrating that the sport thrives not only on athletic skill, but also on the ability to captivate and immerse viewers in ongoing storylines. The locker room reacts backstage. The reactions of other wrestlers added an additional layer of storytelling. Observing from the sidelines, members of the locker room mirrored the audience's engagement, curious, cautious, and deeply invested in the unfolding moment. The encounter highlighted the interconnectedness of the wrestling world, where one dramatic moment can ripple across the entire roster, influencing relationships, storylines, and future matchups. It was a reminder that every gesture, glance, and decision carries weight in the larger tapestry of SmackDown. Crafting a story beyond the ring. What made this night truly remarkable was its focus on narrative depth. Even without overt aggression, the sequence conveyed tension, rivalry, and the potential for future confrontations. The storytelling highlighted the dual nature of professional wrestling: physical skill combined with psychological nuance. The audience was offered a glimpse into character development, strategic thinking, and the ways performers use subtle cues to convey larger narratives. It was an education in wrestling psychology, wrapped in an edge-of-your-seat moment. The question of what comes next. The encounter left everyone wondering what comes next. How will Damian Priest respond to the challenges presented by Black's return? What strategies will be employed in future encounters, and how will the dynamic between these two performers evolve? The beauty of wrestling storytelling is that it thrives on anticipation, speculation, and fan engagement. Each moment sets the stage for the next, keeping viewers invested and eager for the unfolding saga. Beyond physicality, this night was a reminder that wrestling is about more than just the moves executed in the ring. It's about presence, emotion, and the way performers engage audiences, both visually and psychologically. The corridor scene between Priest and Black showcased the art of anticipation, control, and subtle tension. Fans were left with a sense of awe, understanding that some of the most memorable moments occur when performers manipulate space, emotion, and narrative in ways that resonate far beyond physical action. Building future storylines. The encounter backstage served as a foundation for future storylines. It wasn't just a moment of confrontation, it was a narrative pivot. The reactions, gestures, and pacing all suggested a larger plan, teasing potential matchups and character arcs to come. The audience is left to interpret and anticipate, creating a dynamic where engagement extends beyond the live broadcast into conversations, speculation, and ongoing investment in the unfolding drama. Wrapping up the night. By the end of the evening, it was clear that SmackDown had achieved something remarkable. Through careful choreography, presence, and storytelling, the night delivered tension, anticipation, and narrative richness without relying on extreme physical aggression. Fans were left excited, intrigued, and fully invested in what comes next, demonstrating the power of professional wrestling as both a sport and theater. It was a night that reminded everyone why they tune in, to witness not only athletic skill, but also the art of storytelling that makes each encounter feel significant, suspenseful, and unforgettable. Conclusion. The evening was a testament to the evolving nature of wrestling narratives. Damian Priest and Aleister Black's encounter proved that tension, anticipation, and psychological storytelling can captivate audiences as much as any in-ring maneuver. SmackDown continues to push boundaries in how stories are told, and the night served as a vivid reminder that every gesture, look, and moment matters. The saga is far from over, and fans can eagerly anticipate the next chapter in a story that promises drama, suspense, and unforgettable moments.